Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Mel and today we're going to be talking about my upcoming anticipated thriller and horror releases. I am so beyond ready for fall, it is not even funny. I have my witch's hat coming in the mail, I have on my t-shirt. Don't know if you guys can see what it says. I just love it. These are all things that I absolutely adore and really look forward to in fall, so it's one of my favorite shirts. Okay, so we need to talk upcoming thrillers. I have some that are actually going to be coming out tomorrow. I have a couple in September, a couple in October, a couple in November. I tried to keep it to like the fall segment rather than giving you some. There's a ton that are coming out in January, but we'll talk about those later. So I guess let's jump into the ones that are coming out tomorrow. The first is Please Join Us by Catherine McKenzie. This one is one that I have had kind of on my radar. And it says that at 39, Nicole Mueller's life is on the rocks. Her brilliant law career is now falling apart and she and her husband are going to lose their apartment. But then she gets an invitation from a very exclusive group and membership is anonymous, but every member is a successful professional. It sounds like the perfect solution to help revive Nicole's career. And once she's there, she meets all of the women that are going to make up her pride. And they explain the group's core philosophy. They're a girls' club in a boys' world. Nicole is all in. As soon as she gets home, she soon sees the dividends from it. Her network is quickly providing her with clients to help relaunch her career and a new apartment too. But then she's called to a congresswoman's apartment late night where she's pressed into helping her cover up a crime. Now Dan's concerns seem a little too close to home. Can she get herself out before it's too late? This sounds very cult-like. I am interested in it a lot, and you may be seeing... This sounds very cult-like, which I don't feel like we get a whole lot of in thrillers, and it comes out on August 23rd. Next up, we have one that comes out on August 30th, and that is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I really enjoyed His and Hers by Alice Feeney, enjoyed Rock, Paper, Scissors, but didn't love it quite as much. There were just too many plot twists for me. But Alice Feeney does shocking very, very well, and so I'm very interested to get into Daisy Darker. It says Daisy Darker was born with a broken heart. Now, years after avoiding each other, her entire family is assembled for Nana's 80th birthday party. But this is in a gothic, crumbling house on a teeny tidal island. The family arrives, and each one of them are harboring secrets. And when the tide comes in, they're going to be cut off from the rest of the world for 8 hours. But at the stroke of midnight, Nana is found dead. And an hour later, another family member follows. Now they are trapped on an island where someone is killing them off one by one, and they must reckon their present mystery as well as their past secrets to get out alive. This does sound very one by one. It sounds a little bit like The Guest List by Lucy Foley, which I did not love, but I'm always looking, this premise sounds so interesting to me, so I'm always looking for that one book that can just really do it well. Hopefully this one's it. Next up we have Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. I tried to read Ashburn House and did not love it, but I'm really hoping to enjoy some of Darcy Coates' other books because I've heard such really good things about them. She is like the queen of horror, so maybe Gallows Hill is the one. This one comes out on September 6th, and it says it's time to come home. The whole family has owned the Gallows Hill house for generations. The family has always thrived until they entered the dark halls of Gallows Hill for one last time and are found dead the next morning. People whisper that the curse is now awakened again, and now we're flashing forward where it's been a decade since Margaret Hull last saw her childhood home. She barely remembers any of the dark passageways and secret corners, but she's returned to bury her parents and reconnect with the winery that has housed the family's legacy. Alone in this dilapidated building, she's forced to come face to face with the horrors of the past and realize that she may be the next victim of a house that never rests. Love haunted house stories. I really am looking for more of them. I don't feel like there's enough haunted house stories out there, so if you've got any recommendations, let me know down below. Then we have The Guest House by Robin Morgan Bentley. This one comes out on September 13th, and the tagline says, "How far would you go to protect the ones that you love?" Jamie and Victoria are off for one last quick vacation before the arrival of their first baby, and the remote country guest house seems like the perfect retreat. It's miles away from distractions from work and regular life. The older couple that runs the establishment are more than accommodating. That's always scary. But when Jamie and Victoria wake on their first morning, they find the house deserted. The couple is nowhere to be seen, all the doors are locked, and their cell phone and car keys have disappeared. There's no way out, no way to call for help, and the contractions are getting stronger. Sounds interesting. I love a locked room mystery, so hopefully this one's going to be really, really good. I've never read anything or heard from this author at all, so I don't know if it's a debut or what, but I'm excited. Next up, we have Imposter by Brady Goffrey. I've never heard of this author, but it was blurbed by Mary Kubica, which I've enjoyed books from in the past. So when I saw that and read the description, sounded really good, caught my eye. This one comes out on September 13th as well. And it says Lillian and Rosie were once the closest of sisters, but the death of their parents pulled them apart. Now we're 3 years forward, where Rosie has reached out to her big sister asking to meet. And when Rosie is driving on an icy road in the middle of a snowstorm, she admits that she has something important to tell Lillian, a secret that she describes as a matter of life and death. But before she can, the car careens and has devastating consequences. Now Lillian survives unscathed, but Rosie is left with a traumatic brain injury and she can't communicate anymore. And Lillian is convinced that someone deliberately rammed into their car, but can't figure out why. She begins to explore her sister's past and discovers some disturbing secrets that question if she ever really knew Rosie. The closer she comes to the truth, the more danger that she and her sister find themselves in. Sounds really, really good. I love a sibling type thriller, especially with secrets and what happened. This one sounds awesome, so I'm excited to get to it. Next up, we have Book of Knives by Lise Haynes. Another one that just kind of popped up on my radar and sounded good, but not from an author I've ever read from before. So this one is about Nora, who agrees to help her new husband and his family fix up a hidden lake camp, and she didn't expect it to be in such a state of ruin. They drive north to get Paul's elderly parents settled while he and his brother made enough repairs to sell the property. The summer camp, however, and its deep lake have other plans. On the first night, Nora stumbles through first meal. His sister-in-law shows off a prize collection of handmade knives, 13 in all. One by one, the knives begin to disappear. By the time the fourth and the fifth vanish from behind locked doors out from under Nora's watchful eyes, she can barely sleep. There's talk of ghosts, secret rooms, and someone at the summer camp found dead in the tall grass. Sounds so good. I don't know if this is more of a thriller or a horror, but I'm here for it. Then we have Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I do think that this is a republished book, but the cover now is so good, and it comes out on October 11th. I read The Last House on Needless Street and really, really enjoyed it. I have not yet gotten to Sundial. I want to, but I will admit I'm being a slacker and just have not gotten to it yet, so I'm excited to read this next one from her. I believe it is a gothic tale, and it says, "A great day is upon us. He is coming. The world will be washed away." On the battered isle off the wildest coast of Scotland, a clan prepares to bring about the end of the world and its imminent rebirth. The Adder is coming, and one of their number will inherit its powers. They all want honor, but young Eve is willing to do anything for the distinction. A reckoning beyond Eve's imagination begins when Chief Inspector Black arrives to investigate the brutal murder, and their sacred ceremony goes terribly wrong. Interesting. I don't know if this is cult-like or if it's just more ritual-based, but sounds really good, and having really enjoyed The Last House on Needless Street in that weird, unsettling way of the story developing, I'm really, really excited for this one. Then we have The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. I just love these new like neon covers, and it gives me like old motel sign vibes. This one says rules: listen carefully, do your research, trust no one, run for your life. I'm not sure I want to read any more than that. Ready or not, here they come. That sounds so good. We have our main character who's on the brink of literary stardom, and she's now engaged to the heir of a powerful family. He's long since tried to sever ties with his family, but the news of the couple's marital bliss has them kind of coming back into their lives. Harriet's now drawn into the lavish world that seems perfectly welcoming. But when she presses play, when Edward's father hands her a tape of a book he's been working on, she wants to listen to it. She presses play, and it's clear that it isn't just a novel, it's a confession of a grisly crime, a murder, and suddenly the game is in motion. That sounds so good. It comes out on October 18th, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Next up, we have The Secluded Cabin Sleeps 6 by Lisa Ungler. This one I think is a locked cabin mystery. And it says that couples rent a luxury cabin in the woods for a weekend getaway to die for. It says, what could be more restful and restorative than a weekend getaway with family and friends? That never ends well. An isolated luxury cabin in the woods with spectacular views and its own personal chef. But the dreamy weekend is about to turn into a nightmare when a deadly storm is brewing. The rental host seems just a little too present. The personal chef reveals their beautiful house as a spine-tingling history, and the friends have their own complicated past. How well does Hannah know her brother and her own husband? Can she trust her best friend? Meanwhile, someone is determined to ruin the weekend, looking to exact payback for deeds long buried. Who is the stranger among them? Sounds really good. Sounds like a little bit of a different take on a locked room mystery, so really excited to get to that one. And it comes out on November 8th. Next up, we have The Resemblance by Lauren Nosset. Again, one that I've never heard of, but this whole cover just gives me fall vibes. We have leaves falling, we have a school, we have just the color scheme. And this one says, on a chilly November morning at the University of Georgia, a fraternity brother steps off a busy crosswalk and is struck dead by a car. More than a dozen witnesses agree on two things. The driver looked identical to the victim, and he was smiling. The lines between the police work and our main character's own past blur as she seeks to bring justice to an institution that took something precious from her many years ago. Threats start to escalate, long-buried secrets threaten to come to the surface, and she can't help questioning whether the corruption in Athens has run off campus into the force and how these brotherhoods will go to protect their own. I love it. I love a fraternity, secret society, kind of gone wrong situation, which is what this kind of is giving me. I don't know that that's what it's about, but that's the vibes I'm getting, and I'm so excited for it. Okay, everybody, so I think that is all 10 that are coming up in the end of August, September, October, and November. Like I said, I have a ton coming out in January that we will talk about at a later point. Let me know down in this video if there's any of these that you are really looking forward to, or if you have any that maybe I didn't have on my list that are upcoming that you want to tell me about. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, my Patreon is down in the description, as well as links to my Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. You guys can give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!